All right, let's talk about the coolest class in drag racing, in my opinion, that doesn't get the participation that I think it deserves, and also the allure seems to be fleeting for it, but I really think that's unfounded, and I hope that in the next few years this thing starts to boom. Because personally, there's a lot of cars in the world that fit it, and it's really freaking cool, and it's really fast. So, as the title says, RVW, Radial versus the World. The essence of Radial versus the World is pro mods on small tires. Now, small tires being 315 drag radials of the Mickey Thompson variety, and there's no wheelie bars. The weights are way different. Like, they're, as Donald Long says, no restrictor plates. This class is fast. Right now, after Q2, the top two guys went 347 and a 349 at 214 miles an hour. The fastest car, like mile an hour, went 217 miles an hour in qualifying. Like I said, pro mods on small tires. It's freaking awesome. The rule set is 2 pages. It's as simple as can be. There's, couple different weights depending on your combo, but for the most part, it's bring your shit and see how fast it is. Now, this class mostly takes place at South Georgia Motorsports Park, Orlando, and Bradenton has had it a few times, but Lights Out 16 going on right now currently has it. Like I said, 340s in the 8th mile. This class is unreal. So, not only that, being the no wheelie bar small tires, you end up with this phenomenon in drag racing of the flying cars. Why is it, on the decline? Why is it dying? Right now, there's only 15 cars signed up for it at Lights Out, the biggest, the biggest of the big. And there's, $51,000 to win. So there's money to win. There's cars that do fit the class. There's a desire for some of these guys to slap the small tires on it, pull some weight off it, put a different pulley on it, whatever it be, and actually run their cars at this deal. But what I think is taking some away from it, rightfully so, is pro mod, professionally modified at Bradenton and the Winter Series, because these cars are very similar crossovers. A pro mod can run RVW, and an RVW car can run pro mod. We've seen it where Stevie Fast, the Shada, runs both. He's racing right now, and come Monday, he'll be on property at Bradenton running the same car. So he's going to run from Sunday, and then right to Monday, Bradenton running the same car from RVW to pro mod. And I don't think he's the only one. We got Ken Cartuccio on there as well. I don't know if his car is the same car, or I think it might be a different car that runs the other deal. But again, there are people that run both of these things. But why is it on the decline? There's so many cars that could be there racing it right now that just don't want to go through the hassle for, running it on a small tire for only a few events a year. There's a lot of pro mod racing, a lot of it. You can race 28, 30 plus times this year, pro mod race for a big, big payout. How many times can you race RVW this year? Maybe 4, maybe 5 times at most. So designing a car and making it fit RVW is difficult. It's labor intensive compared to just running your car in pro mod like you've been doing maybe all year. So it just makes sense for a lot of these guys to opt out of RVW, even if they have a car that can fit, even if there's a large payout. Yes, the pro mod deal coming up has $150,000 to win, but there's also 70 cars with a, maybe a thou or two split between them. I mean, I think the fastest car went, like a 50 something, and the slowest car went like a 60 something. So we're talking a very, very tight gap between 70 cars on property at Bradenton this coming week. You don't get that in pro mod, which makes the racing you don't get that in RVW, which makes the racing not as close. Come Sunday, the racing for RVW will not be as close as come Sunday of the World Series of Pro Mod. It just it's just how it is, unfortunately. But I have dreams. I have dreams to see RVW do this. And obviously, I'm not in any position to compete in RVW, but I'd love to see a full field of RVW cars that all qualify within a tenth of each other. The problem is the top 10 or, 12 cars in RVW are somewhat competitive. The number 10 qualifier right now is sitting at a 368, and number 1 is sitting at a 347. So there's a solid gap between them, and that's only 12 cars. If this is going to be competitive racing, it's going to be 20, 30, 40 cars minimum that close together. 36 ideally, or was it 32 ideally would be a number of competitive RVW cars. And I don't know what you would do to get them back in. Would you have to raise the payout and have multiple guaranteed payouts throughout the year to, give people the desire to do this? Or do you have to somehow convince a pro mod guy that it's worth putting his car on a small tire and running it at RVW, in RVW trim, radial versus the world? Or can you do 2 lanes? Can you prep 1 lane for slicks and 1 lane for radials? Gets to be a whole point of contention there as well, because this is where the slick tire debate really ramps up. So I'll play devil's advocate here. Yes, the radial tires come a warm day, maybe Sunday is a little warmer. It's gonna be a struggle. Round 1, round 2 is tough. Those cars may not make it down. You're gonna see a lot of cars likely spin or go much slower than they qualified at when it's dark, when it's cool out, when the track's really good, when it's heat of the day. Depending on what kind of weather they get, these cars are so much more dependent that they just will not perform the same way. Then you look at Pro Mod, and it doesn't matter as much. The track prep does not matter as much. They actually, if there's too much prep, it's actually a problem for them. So it's an easier viewing experience. There's less tractor time. There's less tractors just going up and down, putting rubber down, spraying down. You get a lot more run time at the track instead of the downtime of tractors. But there is something to me that is so cool about seeing a small 315 radial, small relatively, go 347. That to me will always be awesome. And maybe I've been indoctrinated into radial tire racing so heavily that I can't even imagine a slick tire. Never driven on a slick tire. And I just, I can't imagine. I look at the pinnacle of radial tire racing as like that's the step ups for me, because to me you don't step up in radial and then switch to slick tire pro mod. It seems odd to me, and that's what is odd to me as well. It seems like these guys that are radial tire racing end up switching to pro mod with a slick tire all of a sudden when they didn't, many of them didn't work up the ladder in slick tire racing. It's almost 2 different worlds. You look at like PDRA and then you look at radial tire racing, are like 2 different worlds. And I don't know how you get more people to RVW, because that's the hope. No wheelie bars, 340s, small tires, and a class filled with RVW cars. The real skinny of it is there's going to be 8 competitive RVW cars, 8 of them, that could potentially win that deal on an all-out pass. Of course, unfortunately, with radial tire racing, you end up with not the fastest guy winning or not the most competitive car winning, because the track changes so much that sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. And that's unfortunately how it ends up being sometimes, and you hate watching racing like that, but that is what's gonna probably end up happening. But we'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think? Pro Mod, RVW, can they both just live happily ever after? How do we get more Pro Mod guys to race RVW, because it's so damn cool as a spectator and as a fan that I just want to see that more. Obviously I love X275, LDR, Pro 275, Ultra Street. Those are really cool. But there's just something about letting the leash completely off and saying, freaking do it, and watching them get after it in such a level of competition. And that's just what I want to see. So maybe the Shadow will do something cool here in Q3, and he can pop his way up there. Right now he's sitting at a 367.9, and I think he's got what it takes to be, top 3 qualifier for sure. But only time will tell. Hopefully RVW makes a comeback. I know all my Pro Mod fans are, hating this, but I like RVW. Just like I like Pro Mod, I do like RVW. It'll always have my heart. Just how it is. Radial tires will always have me. They just got me. But if you guys like this kind of stuff, hit the follow button, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. If I'm wrong and an idiot and Pro Mod's better, tell me that too. But that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it saucy. See you next time.